This week in Texas, we lead with the news reported first on ABC 13. Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo not running for a third term.
No, I will not be running again.
We'll have more of Melanie Lawson's interview with Hidalgo. And we speak with another politician leaving office in 2026, Texas Congressman McCaul.
I really feel like it's been a good run.
We also sit down with someone who is seeking office, State Representative and now congressional candidate Briscoe Cain.
I believe that Trump needs fighters in Washington to help him fulfill the promises to the American people.
Plus, conversations about 2026 and political civility with our political insiders, Otis Ebagaru and Court Kenning, this week in Texas. And hello again, I'm Tom Abrams. This week in Texas, big political news in Harris County. Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo announced in an interview on ABC 13 she will not seek a third term. She has served as the top government executive since 2018 and sat down with our Melanie Lawson to discuss her decision not to run for re-election. Here is part of their conversation.
When I first was elected, I decided I would only do 2 terms. And I have decided to keep that promise and not seek a third term. And so no, I will not be running again.
And why did you make that decision?
The first time I was elected, I said immediately, I don't want to do this for 30 years. I don't want to have more than 2 terms. My advisors at the time said, don't say that, don't say that. But the fact of the matter is, I did not run to build an empire. Some folks say, well, why don't you run for something else, whether it's Congress or something else? And the answer is, I am totally focused on my job and finishing strong. This is not sort of a farewell conversation. I still have over a year left to go and things to do, but I'm focused totally on that. I've got the work cut out for me, and that's not even, knock on wood, counting any emergencies that might arise. After that, I don't know. I don't know what I will do. I know that I'm not running for office this cycle. I can say that with confidence. I think I ruffled some feathers, and I don't know this, but some folks have said, well, maybe a lot of these folks who say you didn't wait your turn, perhaps they regret that they did not run for this role, and they wish they had. And as I said, I don't know that, but it has been surprising, to get that sort of acrimony. I know that I can be stubborn, and that might come as offensive to some people, but I am very dedicated to the issues that I fight for. They are all community issues. They're not issues that benefit me in any way, and I'm very proud of that.
I don't hear you saying, perhaps I'm responsible for some of the acrimony. What do you feel about that? I mean, do you ever sort of look back and think, I could have handled that much better?
I mean, I don't think anybody does things perfectly. And I know there are things that I could have done better, or there are some things that we did very well. And the fact of the matter is, we move on. I don't think this is a question that would be asked of a man, frankly.
So let's talk more about the Harris County judge's race now that Lina Hidalgo won't be part of it. I want to bring in our panel of political insiders, Court Kenning and Otis Ebagaru. Gentlemen, thanks for being with us as always. Otis, we'll begin with you. Your thoughts about how this race shapes up without an incumbent in it?
Yeah, first and foremost, I got to say, especially being the Democrat on this panel, shout out to Lina Hidalgo. I mean, she did something that a lot of people didn't do. Quite frankly, no one did except her. Put her name on the ballot against who a lot of people called a friend, and Ed Emmett, and she was able to win that in 2018, making history. And the things that she's had to endure, right? Whether it's COVID, whether it's a natural disaster, she stepped up to the plate and she did that. Now to the race, now that she's no longer in it, she's going to go be a private citizen, hopefully go make some money, sit on some boards, and be a community leader like she has been being county judge. Now the race is going to be interesting. It's an open race. I think Court had mentioned this when we were talking about before. It's like, when's the last time there's an open judge race here in Harris County? I mean, it's going to make for good political theater. But also, too, now it's going to be interesting to see how someone can make a theory of the case of what the vision of Harris County is supposed to look like. We had a young Latino Tina in that seat. Now it looks like we're going to be going in a different direction, which is fine. But what does that look like for the people of Harris County? And then dynamics of court, right? It's 4-1 right now. There's going to be an open seat, so it could be 3-2, 4-1 the other way. No matter how it goes, we'll see the election November 2026. But what I hope is that whoever's going to run for County Judge 1, it stays a Democratic seat. That's number one. But number two, that they care about the people of Harris County and making sure that they follow in the leadership that Lina Hidalgo has carried on for 8 years.
I think, like Otis was saying, you go back in history, it's hard to find a time when you had an open seat for county judge. And county judge, by its very title, has got the judge in it, but it has no judicial responsibility.
Right.
You sit in judgment on commissioner's court, frankly. And so Lina Hidalgo came in on the wave, and it sounds like she's going out on the wave from commissioner's court. There's been a lot of contentious issues going on down there. It's time for new leadership, and there's probably going to be a member of the Democrat Party who's going to be elected to that office, and we need to make sure as Republicans that we find somebody who's able to work with, that's moderate, and then we can deal with it.
And we know that both primaries, both Democrat and Republican, will be contested, so there will be races decided in March. And then we can imagine what will probably be a relatively expensive race in November to win this seat. No. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
engineers and contractors better wake up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think that is going to be, and that's what's going to be different, right? I imagine whoever comes out of the Democratic or Republican primary, that's going to be a different shift in tone. Remember, Lina Hidalgo was not taking political contributions for those who were taking contracts from the county. I think it's going to be a little different now with the folks who are going to be there. And so it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be an expensive race. I mean, partly why it's going to be expensive, though, is not just because of the judge race, but because you're going to have a United States Senate race, you're going to have a governor's race or lieutenant governor race. That's all going to play into this like what happens every midterm. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and how it shakes. I do expect, again, for it to say a Democratic seat, especially in the environment that we're in, and looking forward to seeing who the Democratic nominee is and eventual county judge.
So, Court, I want to ask you, Otis sees it staying as a Democrat, but increasingly, since that initial wave when Lina Hidalgo was elected and all the judges were elected and flipped to Democrats, we've seen the GOP sort of eat away at that lead. Last time it was within 2 percentage points in most countywide races.
Sure, the pendulum shifts, and if you're too strong on one side, it's going to shift back the other way quicker. So yeah, I think so. I think we have the ability to be able to be involved in the race. I don't think you're going to have a Republican win it, although I would hope that happens. But we need somebody who is ready to do the job on day one, because this is emergency response you got to deal with here. If we will have another hurricane, we need to make sure the leaders at the top know what they're doing.
Now, last thing, and we only have about 30 seconds. Judge Hidalgo said she was getting out so that other people could get in. Do you see more people getting in?
Sure, absolutely. There's going to be more candidates than what we see now.
Absolutely. She made the profile of that office larger than life, and so people are going to want to sit in that seat and be on the cover of Time magazine themselves.
All right, Otis, Court, thanks so much for your perspective on that. And when we come back, we're going to talk to another candidate who's no longer a candidate. Michael McCaul, longtime congressman, says he's not running anymore. You'll hear from him next. Welcome back. We've discussed Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo's decision to not seek re-election. Also making the announcement this week, Texas Congressional Representative Michael McCaul said he will not seek re-election after serving Congressional District 10 since 2005. He's been a frequent guest of our program and joined us to talk more about leaving Congress.
It's been over 2 decades. I've chaired the Homeland Security Committee during the rise of ISIS and the Caliphate, chaired the Foreign Affairs Committee when Afghanistan fell, Putin invaded Ukraine. Middle East is obviously on fire, and the threat from China in the Indo-Pacific's real. But I really feel like it's been a good run. It's been a good ride, and I don't think our fathers intended us to stay here for a lifetime. I think giving up power is a noble thing, and there are other opportunities and challenges I want to take on. I still have time. I'm 63, but I still have time for another career.
So, as you look at another career, is this a decision you made because there are other opportunities that were presented to you and you chose them? Is it because of the redrawing of maps again? Is there something else going on?
No, it really wasn't the maps. I mean, I don't have currently I don't have an opponent. We did a poll. I was very strong in the district. It's more of a life decision. You know, what I want to do with the fourth quarter of my life. both personal with my family, but also there are other opportunities. And since my announcement, I mean, the offers are coming in. I'd like to maintain and be a relevant voice on the issues that matter to me, and that's national security and foreign policy. I think I have a lot to offer with the expertise I've gained up here. But I've, after chairing 2 committees, I think it's time.
Oftentimes when people leave office after a long period of time, having led and having some level of expertise in various areas, they offer advice or sometimes an admonition to those who come after them. Either of those things for your colleagues in Washington?
Yeah, I would say try to be constructive. We can try to agree on most things, but when we don't, you can agree to disagree, but civilly. And that's sort of the understanding I always had with my Democrat counterpart on both of those committees. If you want to be effective, you have to work across the aisle to get good things done for the country. And that's the only way you're going to pass legislation. I think that's what made me very effective in passing a tremendous amount of legislation. And that should be the goal, not to jump up and yell and scream at the camera on the television just to get attention. I would advise to try to restore civility and statesmanship.
So given that that's how you've treated your time in office and that seems to be increasingly less popular an approach, does that play into your decision somewhat?
Yeah, the politics have gotten more volatile. I don't find it is, really that part of the job is not something I personally enjoy. I do think it's more the timing for me. After 2 decades, after chairing 2 major national security committees, I don't want to be one of those guys that wakes up and I'm bitter and I'm too old to get employment outside. I've seen this many times before. Chairmen that have nowhere else to go, they can't let go of power, and then they go down a path of unhappiness and bitterness. And I don't think that's not who I want to be.
Congressman, anything else you'd like to add?
Just, I think restoring civility. I think after the shooting of Charlie Kirk, the political rhetoric, the tone, temperature is at an all-time high. We're all concerned about our own safety. Of course, I'm sanctioned by China. I'm under indictment in Iran for other things. Those are some of the threats I have against me. But I do hope we can just be more mature and adult-like and statesman-like.
Thanks to Congressman Michael McCaul. Now, you heard the congressman discuss a lack of civility in politics in light of the assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. Political discourse and free speech have again become a point of contention among both Republicans and Democrats. For more on this, I want to bring in 2 political strategists who have always remained civil on this program, Otis Ebugaru and Court Kenning. Court, we'll start with you. Your thoughts about where we are when it comes to political discourse.
Otis and I are civil on this program and off this program. And Otis is going to run for office, and I hope he's successful in doing that. We have a situation right now that we've taken the tone up from regular discourse and arguing at the curb about issues to killing people. And that just shouldn't happen. We just shouldn't be doing this. And I want to make sure that we give the proper amount of deference to Charlie Kirk and what's been going. But the citizens of Utah is going to be the epicenter of this issue. But we're all going to be involved in it.
Yeah, and in Court, I think you'd agree that part of the reason why we're civil on this is you set the tone at the top, right, Tom? And that's you, and the way you end this show, be kind to one another, is something that sticks with me when we're having these discussions. And it's not to say that we shouldn't have lively debate. I mean, that's how this country was founded, off lively debate. That's how we get to great consensus in this country. That's how great ideas are blossomed in this country. It's off of a great debate. What we can't have is you killing folks because you disagree with them. That shouldn't be anywhere close to politics. And quite frankly, it shouldn't be anywhere close to life. enough, right? I mean, this is a larger conversation that we should be having. What I say is that you feel sorry for the families of those who get impacted by political violence and violence in general. We shouldn't have that. The other part of this, though, and that's the conversation that we have to have, is accountability. We've seen time and time and time again from our political leaders, particularly the one that's in the White House, of this kind of language that's being used. I'll give you an example. When the Democrats broke quorum because it was a tool afforded to them in the Constitution, the governor of this state had them on wanted posters. And I'm going to take it a step further. It wasn't white Democrats that were on these wanted posters. It was brown and black folks that were on these wanted posters. I mean, you are symbolizing to sycophants and these fanatics that are radical. What do you think is going to happen when you're putting these people on wanted posters? Their insatiable appetite to be violent is going to now be fed. I mean, we have to be careful about these things. Accountability has to be a part of it. And our leaders have to step up. Our community leaders have to step up. Ramp down the temperature. Let's have conversation. Let's have civil debate. Let's have the argument. Let's make the theory of our cases. We can do that in a civil way without putting each other on a wanted poster. I mean, that's got to be part of the conversation as well, too.
Let me add to Otis's comments. It's nice to be wanted, though, right?
Not in that way.
When we go from debate, we can't go to debunk. We have to keep it on debate and civil.
Well, and I'll ask you this question, even though I know nobody clearly has the answer because it hasn't been solved yet. But how do you actually do this? How do you bring down the temperature when you have social media where all the extremes are heard, when you have primaries where the extremists on both parties oftentimes win over the people who tend to be a little bit more moderate, which is where most of Americans live? How do you do that?
You have social media that's made up of citizens. That's what it is. And anybody can say anything when they don't have somebody in front of them and they say it on the computer in their underwear.
Right, but it translates into the real world, too. So what do we do? I mean, I'm not an elected leader. What do I do?
No, Tom, and that's what I'm talking about is the accountability part. It starts at the top. The reason why people go on social media and they have what we call Twitter fingers is because the top is the one that's allowing them to do that. We've got to be better we have to be better stewards and better messengers, right? We can't just because Tom Abrams disagrees with me doesn't mean all of a sudden now we have to be politically violent. He just disagrees with me. That's life. That's why we're all made differently. That's why we're different ethnicities, races, ideologies, sexual orientation, whatever it is, we're all different, and that's how we stay civil. Hey, my mom used to tell me all the time, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You listen twice as much as you talk. And that's another thing that's happening. We're all talking at each other. No one is listening. And so we've got to do that. But it starts at the top. When you're doing that at the top and you set the tone, then the folks below will adhere. I mean, that's what you're seeing. You see the manifestos that are written. It's always pointing back to some kind of leader or someone else's words that's leading them to that. We have to be better stewards of that. Whether we're on this show, whether we're an elected official, whether we're a community leader or a faith leader, we have to do a better job of making sure that we're listening twice as much as we're speaking and we're being kind to one another.
In the end, it's up to us.
That's right.
Ultimately, every single one of us. Gentlemen, thank you. And I do want to thank both of you, and especially Otis. A special thank you to you, even though Court sort of stole our thunder here. This is Otis's last appearance as a panelist on the program. He's running for office in 2026. He's been a part of this program since the very beginning. We've always appreciated your perspective, your thoughtful approach to commentary. Court, you too, but you're sticking around.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, you know, he does a really good job of being wrong. He puts it in great context.
I appreciate it.
So I'm going to be wrong wherever I'm going.
I'm kidding.
When we come back, a conversation with congressional candidate Briscoe Cain. Welcome back. Let's keep the focus on 2026, and instead of discussing who's not running, let's focus on who is. Briscoe Cain is a Republican state representative who represents the area in and around Deer Park. He is now running for Congress in Congressional District 9. Thanks for being with us. We appreciate it, State Representative. Tell me, why Congress?
Well, this is where I was born and raised, there in the shadow of the San Jacinto Monument to parents who worked at the refineries. It's where I've chosen to raise my family. It's where my business is located. It's kind of where my heart is. And so for the last nearly a decade, I've been the proven leader of this district, advancing Trump's agenda and the agenda of the Republican Party. And I believe it's the right time. Look, I've spent, again, these last 5 terms fighting for our values here in the Texas legislature. And I believe that Trump needs fighters in Washington to help him fulfill the promises to the American people.
Now, this is one of those districts that the legislature discussed and then redrew the maps, significantly changing the makeup of Congressional District 9. It's now 60% of those who voted for Trump. I'm assuming that influenced your decision, given the way that map was redrawn.
Yeah, certainly. We passed the map on the 20th of last month, and I announced my candidacy the very next day. And it's simple. I think we're going to find that the current member of Congress from there, Al Green, will never again be shaking his cane at the president. Instead, I believe that I'll be there to partner with him to look to secure the border, just really simple things to get woke out of our schools, to ensure that America is safe, secure, and prosperous. And I believe that he needs that, and I think I've got the experience to do just that.
And so what are some of the big issues for you as you campaign in this primary? What do you want to focus on? What do you want to tell voters about?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the big issues in this primary are the big issues that I've been leading on right now, such as ensuring that law enforcement have the tools they need to combat crime, putting forth a system to get rid of out-of-control and radical judges. Those are things we've done in Austin, and they're things we need done in D.C. as well. The border is still the top issue, and it's something I've led on since day one. In fact, in 2016, when I ran at the same time as President Trump and took on the establishment and won, I also filed the first state-level bill for the state to build the wall. I look forward to going to D.C. and finishing that job.
And you think these are still issues that resonate with voters, maybe even above the economy?
Look, we are going to go forward and make sure that the tax cuts and the plans that the president has are protected and are advanced. Those are things to keep our economy booming. But the 9th District in Texas is the heart of the oil and gas industry here in Texas. It is our #1 job creator and our #1 exporter. It's something I've been doing for this last decade. In fact, the Texas Chemical Council, which is the association of all the refineries, in 2022 named me the champion of industry for my work in protecting and advancing the agenda of the Texas oil and gas industry, which is where the people work. It's the most important thing we have.
So jobs then, is that part of what you'll be focusing on, making sure people have jobs in an ever-changing environment?
Jobs in the Texas Gulf Coast are what they are because of the oil and gas industry. So protecting that industry is what will ensure that our jobs continue to be what they are. It's why our unemployment rate is so low. It's why housing and things are very affordable. So of course that is a priority. But the Republican agenda is not that alone. I believe there's a revival in America right now, a revival of bold Christian conservative warriors who are rising up. They're not afraid to speak out against the woke agenda or to fight it. That's something I've done for 5 sessions, and look forward to bringing those skills to D.C. to help the president.
How do you foresee D.C. being different from Austin? I know for a long time, Austin has been this collegial place where, aside from a few key issues, most things were bipartisan. That's not the case in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've certainly found after announcing this campaign, D.C. is certainly different, but I think the issues are the same. The voters are looking for somebody with experience and looking for someone that is willing to fight. It's not silent. And I think you can find my record showing that I'm not afraid to go after the hot button issues and to attack them head on. I mean, I've spent nearly 20 years in this movement. I was the president of my College Republicans Club. I was a campus activist at law school, president of the Federal Society. I've hosted debates and campaigned for folks before taking office. I believe I have that exact experience to take it to D.C. and be a serious player.
What do you want voters to know about you personally that they may not know otherwise?
Well, I'd say I'm a loving father and a husband. I'd like to say I'm great. You'd have to ask my wife on that. But we are the father of 5 boys. We own a small farm there in Crosby. As you know, this district is different from many other areas in Harris County. We still have rodeos. I think that's something that my background as being the chair of Agriculture and Livestock Committee helps out. It is a new area that's growing. A lot of the growth is out there. That's the unincorporated areas of Harris County, and I think they should know that I'm ready and willing with the experience to make those things happen.
Briscoe Cain, candidate for Congressional District 9. Thanks so much for spending time with us.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Tom.
it. Some final thoughts on This Week in Texas when we come back. That's it for This Week in Texas. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, you can watch all of our previous episodes on demand wherever you stream ABC 13 and on our website at abc13.com. For all of us here at This Week in Texas, I'm Tom Abrams. We hope you have a great week, and as always, please be kind to one another.